Assalamu alaikum, this is Dr. Mona Idrisi, author of the Muslim Narcissist book and empowerment coach for Muslims. Now, I know it's been a while, I haven't posted for quite some time. I'm sure the narcissists on here have really missed me. So they'll be happy to know that I'm now back from my break, alhamdulillah, and I'm going to kickstart season 2 with a podcast about the reverse Hoover. And this is a continuation from podcast number 95 about the reverse discard. So many people have asked me for this one, and you need to buckle up for it because I think the majority of people who have dealt with narcissists have experienced this. So if you're in this situation, inshallah, this podcast is going to give you tons of closure and a deeper understanding into what the reverse Hoover is and why you keep getting sucked into a trauma bond, even though the narcissist isn't directly reaching out to you. Okay? It's a different kind of Hoover than the one I've already spoken about in podcast number 17. So if you haven't heard that one yet, I highly recommend you do, either before or after this podcast. And if you haven't listened to number 95 yet about the reverse discard, I highly recommend that you pause this one now and you listen to that one first, because the reverse Hoover always follows the reverse discard. So if you went through it or you're going through it now, then know that this podcast will make more sense to you when you hear that one first. So as always, I'd like to kindly ask you to like the podcast if you found it beneficial and helpful. Please share it with others whom you feel could benefit from this content. And do click on the subscribe button to be notified of when I release future podcasts, inshallah. And you can also sign up to the mailing list and you'll get emails about news and podcast releases. You can find the sign up link on the website. And if you haven't already, do grab a copy of the Muslim Narcissist book, as it contains all the foundational information you need to understand personality disorders from an Islamic perspective. So all of these podcasts are supplementary to the book. And if you need one-to-one counselling and coaching, I do provide this service. There's a link below in the description box that will take you to an application form on the website, and you can read all the information about the programs and coaching services I offer there. And if you're new to this channel, I'd love to welcome you. I pray that you find all of this information and the content helpful and that it provides you the closure and understanding that you need. So without further ado, let's jump into the podcast. And what I'd like to do first is to give you a quick reminder of what a reverse discard is. It's quite different to the direct discard that a lot of malignant narcissists love to do. So for example, these are the people who kick their children out of their homes. They are the ones who issue brutal talaqs. They are the ones who issue cruel khula requests. Okay, so they make it known that they don't want you there. They are the ones who are in control of ending the relationship because it gives them power and authority in this situation. So if you take away their supply, if you do not do what you're told, if you fail to be the victim they need you to be, they will brutally discard you. And I've heard horrible stories about this where people are kicked out of their homes in the middle of the night and men take out their talaq machine gun, to issue 100 talaqs all in one go just to prove a point that they're discarding you. And women will demand a khula in the most rude way, in a harsh way with so much verbal abuse. They may send you horrid emails and messages, and they may even pack your bags for you and tell you to leave as soon as possible. All of this is because you are no longer the victim they need, and they always have a backup supply lined up. The malignant narcissist and also the narcissistic man-child and woman-child, they never leave a situation. They will never discard if they do not have a backup in place already. So always know that their supply is waiting for them, and that supply could be their mother, could be their father. It doesn't have to be someone new. It doesn't have to be a new wife or a new husband or a new romantic interest. It could be a family member or a friend. Okay? So as long as they have their backup, they will always be ready to discard if they are malignant. And if a malignant narcissist ever tries to hoover you, never go back because it's dangerous. They are just coming back to finish a job that was incomplete. Especially if they see you move on and you're happy with your life without them, you feel freedom, you feel peace. They hate that. A lot of malignant narcissists will come back just to finish the job of destroying you. So that's that. Okay, that's the direct discard. When it's very clear that they are the ones who are ending the relationship and you've destroyed their ego, you've smashed their ego, they absolutely hate your guts. That is when the talaq comes out. That's when the khula comes out and when they kick you out of the house because you have angered them to a point where they now have to sever ties with you. And sometimes they will do this just to punish you for something and to test your reaction. So if they see that you panic when they issue a talaq, or when they ask for a divorce, or when they make you leave the house, if they see you panic in that moment, then they know that a brutal discard at the right time will destroy you very well. Okay, it will finish you off just as they want. So they'll have a few practice runs just before the actual final discard. Okay, that's how you know you're with someone malignant. They do this to create desperation, fear, and codependence so they get maximum supply. Now, the reverse discard is different because it's the coward's way out. Okay, you won't get a grandiose or overt narcissist doing this. It usually comes from the man-child who's narcissistic and the woman-child who is narcissistic. So what happens is they push you out of the relationship by doing everything you hate. They never change. They continue their toxic behavior until you are the one who pulls the plug on the relationship. And again, this could be any relationship that you have with any narcissist. They want to stay the victim, unlike the malignant narcissist who doesn't want to look weak. They want to look like the ones who got rid of you. But the narcissistic man-child or woman-child wants to remain the victim, so they might tell you that they want to change. They might beg you to stay in the marriage or the relationship, but their behavior says otherwise. They keep doing things to sabotage the relationship and hurt you until you say, I've had enough, so that they can go and tell everybody, I tried my best, but nothing was good enough. I'm never good enough for him. I'm never good enough for her. No matter what I did, they kicked me out in the end. They left me. They divorced me. It's a huge sob story for them. That's the reverse discard. When they know they need to leave, but they cannot be the one to pull the plug on the relationship because it makes them look like the villain. And they are the villains in that relationship, in that reality, but they don't want other people to know that. So when these people reverse discard you, they usually have another supply lined up. Okay? A narcissist will never reverse discard you or directly discard you if they do not have supply backup lined up. So they want your relationship to end smoothly, and they hope that you will take the hint and break up with them to keep their image picture perfect. So it's never their fault. Okay, they're the ones who always try to keep the marriage together or the friendship together, and you are the one who didn't have patience. Okay? So when you are reverse discarded, you don't really suspect that they have a new supply because you are the one who ends it. So when you're the one who ends it, they have the excuse now to just move on very quickly. They'll say to you, well, you're the one who broke up with me. Why shouldn't I move on? Why shouldn't I go to someone who wants me? Why shouldn't I go to someone new who's proposed to me? You're the one who doesn't want me. So it justifies them jumping into a relationship very quickly after you break up. Because if they were to discard you and then jump into a new relationship, it either validates your claims that they were cheating, or it makes it look like that's what they always wanted to do. So they don't want their reputation tarnished. So if they get you to leave them, then whatever they do after the relationship is justified for them. Okay? And they will always make you believe that it's your fault that they got into a new relationship as quickly as they did because you did not have patience. You are the one who left them. This is a psychological game that they play on you, and it's a part of the reverse Hoover that I'm going to come back to later. Sometimes the narcissist doesn't actually want you to leave when they do everything to make you pull the plug on the relationship. So what they do is they give you every excuse to leave, and then when you tell them that you want to leave or you're leaving, their behavior completely confuses you because they start crying and they don't allow you to leave. They start to beg and say, no, I can't leave you. I love you. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can't live without you. I can't, survive this life on my own. I don't want to be on my own. They say that. And what this does is it manipulates you to believe and programs your mind to see all their problematic behavior as love. And it also confirms that you're grade A supply. Okay, so they will do things to push you to that point just for them to see how desperate you are for them and how much more supply they can get from you and how much longer they can keep you as a victim. So now at this point you're very confused because you're now thinking, well, if they don't want me to leave, then what was all that behavior before about? Maybe I need to be more tolerant. Maybe I need to help them heal. Maybe I need to fix them. They're broken people. I need to, change them and fix them and do all of this and be more patient. That's exactly what they want. The man-child and the woman-child, they just want a parent who's going to be there and fix them. And they might sell you another sob story, which is, everyone's left me in my life. My father abandoned me. My ex left me. My husband divorced me. And you're going to leave me too? You're going to abandon me as well? So they plant that guilt within you and they fuel it so much. They make you feel really bad. They gaslight you. And you end up turning into their parent who just wants to take care of them at this point. And the guilt makes you tolerate so much more of their garbage. Because now you feel you owe it to them. Now you feel guilty for even wanting to leave. Now you feel like the worst person in the world for even allowing things to get to that point where you tell them that you want to break up. You don't want their friendship anymore. You don't want this marriage anymore. You need to walk away from, your siblings. So this guilt tripping works, where they turn it on you, they make it your problem, just so you can tolerate more of their rubbish. It's very clever, isn't it? But that's what they do. And then you have a third type of reverse discard, which is done by the man-child or woman-child who is borderline malignant. Okay, this is when they're transitioning into the malignant stage. And they will reverse discard you to trigger your abandonment wounds. So this is when they're starting to be really cruel and they want to abuse you emotionally by scaring you into believing that they could leave at any time. But they never say that they're leaving. They just act like they're on their way out. They're distant, they're cold, they have no interest in you, there's no intimacy, they bond better with other people, they're nicer to other people. So you are now on high alert all the time and you're paranoid that they want to leave or they're cheating or they're going to abandon you. So you're in a constant state of anxiety. Okay, this is a third type of reverse discard. So they may not even be cheating, but they want you to believe they are. They may not actually want to leave, but they keep giving you indications that they don't really want you. So it makes you work harder to keep them. So when this happens, they get to confirm how attached you are to them. And by this stage, when they enter the malignant stage of narcissism, they have a satanic mission to destroy you. That's when they get really nasty. Because in the beginning stages of being a man-child or woman-child narcissist, they're not set out to destroy your life. Okay, they're just immature. Their immaturity drives you nuts. But they're not vile beasts like the malignant narcissists are. But they will reverse discard you by doing things you don't like. And when you complain about those things, they say things like, well, if you want to leave, go ahead. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to stop you. You can go if you want. It's all in your head. You're just creating problems. But if you want to leave, then leave. So they create this feeling within you that you could be the one who's wrong. Because if they're not afraid to lose you, then not only does your abandonment wound get activated because you feel discarded, you feel replaceable, you feel like they don't love you that much, you also feel like something is wrong with you. Okay, when someone says to you, well, I'm not going to chase you, if you want to leave, then leave, that can scare someone who is really codependent. So by doing this, the abuser gives themselves more value. Like, well, you're the loser in this situation because I'm not the one who's holding on to this relationship. I can find a better replacement. I don't need you. Even if you have caught them cheating, they will still turn it back on you. They might even gaslight you into believing that you didn't see anything, that you're making it up, that you're hallucinating the messages, you're hallucinating what you saw them do. And it's just to check, it's a test to see how attached you are, how low your self-esteem is, what your level of self-respect is at, so that they can continue with their abuse accordingly. Okay? So, in this situation, two things can happen. You can either say, okay, fine, let's just break up, let's end this friendship, I'm going to move away, let's get a divorce. And if you do that to someone who is transitioning into malignant stage phase, they will get angry with you for not being as attached as they hoped you would be. They get angry. They say, wow, with everything I've done, with everything that I have inflicted on this person to make them so codependent, to make them my slave, they're still able to walk away. They still have some self-esteem and some self-respect to walk away from me. How dare they? How dare they? I'm not done with them yet. I'm not done with destroying this person yet. So now I have to reel this person back in, and I will reverse discard them again at a time when they really are attached to me. So that's when they know. They do this as a test to see how attached you are. And if you're not as attached, then they will turn it around to make it look like they're doing you a favor by taking you back. And they will give you fake promises. This is where the future faking comes in. We'll go to therapy. We'll go for counseling. We'll do this. We'll do that. I'll buy you the house you wanted. I will do this for you. I'll buy you this jewelry. Whatever it is. I'll get better. All the fake promises come out now to reel you back in because they're now going to take revenge on you. How dare you leave me? How dare you overpower me? How dare you not be broken over everything I've done to you, over the cheating, over the lying, over the physical abuse? All of that's not enough to break you and keep you with me? Okay, all right. Watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get you so attached to me, so dependent on me. I'm going to make you quit your job so you've got no one to rely on but me. I'm going to get you pregnant again. I'm going to do this and do that. And then I'm going to reverse discard you when you are in your most vulnerable state and when you cannot leave, when you're stuck, when you've got nowhere to go. I will make sure you've got no one to go to. And they will still walk away just so they can leave you in that state because Iblis sends his soldiers, our qareens, to do that to you. They are assigned missions to destroy good people through narcissists, and the worst of them are the malignant ones. So when you are hoovered back in, this is what happens. This is why it always gets worse. I tell everybody this. Never get hoovered back in. Don't allow yourself to go back to an abuser because you are allowing the mission to continue. You are allowing their qareen to continue their job of obeying Iblis and fulfilling that duty towards him. This is what happens. So sometimes they'll just heat check to see how attached you are, and if you're not attached enough, if you're not broken enough, If you're not destroyed enough by the time they reverse discard you, then they have to come back for round 2 or round 3 until you are. And when you do get hoovered in, and I'll come on to the hoover in just a moment, they will punish you for being brave enough to accept the discard. So you might say, okay, fine, let's just divorce. That offends them. That offends them, and they make you pay for it. You think they'll ever forget that? Never. You think they'll ever forget you standing up to them? Nope. That's why the abuse increases, and that's why they have to break you down even more until you become so weak that you never dare to accept the discard ever again. At that point, they need to have the power over you. You don't get to agree to a discard, and you don't get to discard me either at this point. Because like I said before, the malignant narcissist has to have the upper hand, but because they're only transitioning, they still don't have the confidence to discard you directly. Okay, this is the last stage of the man-child, woman-child phase before they get really nasty. So they're not confident enough to do the direct discard because they haven't got supply lined up, or they still need you in their life. You're still grade A supply, you're a great victim. They're not willing to let go of you just yet, so they can't directly discard you. But because they're transitioning, they're getting nastier in this phase. Okay, and that's how you'll notice them becoming different in each stage of the reverse discard. So if this has happened multiple times, you'll notice they get nastier and nastier each time. Now, the only time when a man-child or a woman-child might break and discard you directly is when they have reached the height of frustration because you have not accepted all the hints. So they now have supply lined up, and that supply is putting pressure on them to leave you. Okay, let's say a man has met another woman who he wants to be with. He's cheating on you with someone else. He's having an affair. Maybe it's his back burner. And she's now piling on the pressure. If you do not divorce her by this date, we're finished. We're over. So he's giving you so many hints. And he's showing you evidence that he's cheating, or he's, being awful in his behavior. He's not providing. He's useless. He's a deadbeat dad. He's a terrible husband. And you keep tolerating it. You keep enabling it. You keep accepting this behavior. He is now getting infuriated. Okay, he is now being really bitter, resentful, spiteful, hateful towards you. Because you're not taking the hint. You're not ending the relationship. You're not filing for khula. He needs to be the victim in that situation, and you are infuriating him because you're not ending it. That's why they get so much worse towards the end. So when they see that there's no hope, that you're going to go to the Sharia council or a masjid to apply for a divorce, when they lose that hope, that's when all the anger and the hatred comes out. And you'll get the nastiest messages, the nastiest emails, because they have reached their limit and now they have no choice but to be the villain, and they hate you for it. They hate you for the fact that they have to now show this side of themselves that they wanted to keep under wraps just in case they needed to come back to you later. So when they explode and all their hate comes out because they're getting pressured on the other side and they need to leave. They need to leave this marriage. They need to leave this situation, but you're not allowing it because you're not ending it. When they explode, everyone now knows about it, okay? And they're angry for 2 reasons. Number 1, they've been exposed as the abuser and as the person who is no longer the victim, because they are the ones ending it and they have to end it in a brutal way. They can't help it. They're so angry. And the second reason why they hate you in that situation is because they can't come back. Because if the way it's ended, they can't come back, because no one around you will allow it. Even if you got weak and they tried to hoover you later, your family and your friends and your work colleagues and your neighbours will all say, hell no. There's no way that person can ever come back into your life after the way they treated you when they left you. Look at those emails. Do you not remember what he said to you or what she said to you in those emails? They will be the vilest emails you've ever read in your life. Horrible messages, horrible phone calls, horrible voice notes. The most brutal discard you'll get is from someone who has reached the limit of waiting for you to end it. And that's when their malignant side comes out. And it's so traumatizing for so many people to witness that drastic change. Because you can see that their behavior is sloppy and terrible, but they're not leaving. You're like, well, they're clearly happy to be here. So, I'm going to stay for the kids. I'm going to stay because I'm dependent on him. I'm going to stay because I have a horrible family. There's no point going back to them. I'd rather stay in my, crappy situation. And he's like, oh my God, what's it going to take for this woman to leave me? Or this man to leave me? I've cheated. I've physically abused them. I've done this. I've done that. And they're still here. Because you are the one who is giving excuses for staying. They are absolutely flabbergasted that you are still with them. So that's the only time when a man child or woman child will directly discard you, and it's when their lids popped off. Quite literally. They will not come back. The man child or woman child who has ended a marriage or a friendship or even a family tie in that way don't come back. They could disappear for years and years because they know they burn the bridges. Okay, when someone ends a relationship in such a traumatic way, they know they've burned the bridge and there's no way back, and they are angry about that because the whole purpose of the reverse discard is to have an opportunity to come back when and if needed, because the victim will always believe that the ending of the marriage or the ending of any relationship was their fault. So they will be more likely to open the doors to an abuser to come back if they are still in that mindset. But if they are brutally discarded, then it makes it harder. Okay? Now, the malignant narcissist very rarely comes back. And a malignant narcissist will usually end a relationship when their ego has been destroyed by that person. So if you are the ones to play a game on the narcissist, so you discard them before they discard you, you will never hear from them again. You will never get a Hoover from a malignant narcissist you have smashed the ego of, ever. They will completely disappear. They would rather marry their granny than come back into your life again after you humiliated them by being 10 steps ahead of their game or being unbothered about their discard. Okay, so if you show them that you're happy with them divorcing you, they don't come back. Sometimes they do to destroy you, but only if they think you're still weak enough to accept a Hoover. And they always directly Hoover. They don't reverse Hoover, they directly Hoover. And they try to bait you with more money. They bait you with a bigger house. They bait you with something that you've always wanted if they think you'll fall for it. But if they know you're in a stronger position spiritually, mentally and emotionally, after they discard you, they hate you so much for it because they know that you will never accept them back into your life. You'll never get a Hoover from this person. Ever. I'm telling you. You're more likely to see Isa alayhi salam in your lifetime than that narcissist on your doorstep. Even if you co-parent with them, they park 10 minutes down the road. Poor kids have to walk all that way every day because they can't stand to see you at drop-offs and pickups. So that's the reverse discard reminder wrapped up for you. And you can learn more about it in detail in podcast 95. Okay? Now, 4 things can happen after you accept a direct or reverse discard. The first thing is a direct Hoover. So some people immediately regret reverse discarding you or directly discarding you because they realize that you're not actually that into them. You don't really care that much. You're okay with, not having any contact with them anymore and breaking up. So that immediate regret causes them to directly hoover you. They will say to you, I regret it, I want you back. Because now they feel rejected and it stings. And if you accept the reverse discard, then they can immediately reverse hoover you within the same week. Okay, it's an immediate reverse hoover. And I'll explain in detail what they all are. The third type of hoover is the direct hoover that comes weeks, months, and years later. So for example, someone finds a new supply and they disappear and it doesn't work out with that new supply. They may come back later and say to you, I made a mistake. I should never have left you. I regret divorcing you. Can we, consider getting back together? It's a direct hoover that comes after a long period of time. And then the fourth type of hoover is the reverse hoover that comes after a long time, again, because their new situation didn't work out, but they do not have the confidence to ask you to take them back, okay? Because they know that you won't. They know they've done so much damage. They've burned the bridges, so they have to bait you into coming back, okay? Essentially, that's what a reverse hoover is. It's putting bait out for you to come back without them having to ask you to come back. And when they do that, it gives them so much power and leverage and control over the new cycle that they reel you into. Okay, and they do it in a very clever way. And this is how most people get sucked back into a hoover and a trauma bond cycle. So let's start off with the immediate hoovers that happen. Okay, so again, podcast 17 talks about the direct hoovers. I'm going to talk about the reverse hoovers that happen immediately after a reverse discard, okay? So 2 types of people will reverse hoover you immediately. The one who isn't done with you, they're not done destroying you, and the one who still needs your supply. So these types of people, when they reverse discard you, they do it to call your bluff. So they're not actually ready for the relationship to end because they do not have a new supply lined up. They may be talking to some people, they may be getting to know some people, but they haven't yet secured a new source of supply or a back burner supply. So they're just heat checking you at the moment. They want to see how attached you are to them, if you still have low self-esteem, if you still are a fantastic victim for them, if you're still willing to give them supply. Because at this point, most of them know that you don't want the relationship to end. So when you eventually accept a reverse hoover because they're not changing, their behavior is getting worse, it's getting more toxic, they keep asking you for a divorce, they keep threatening you with divorce, and then you accept it, what happens here is it confirms to them where they stand and where you stand in this relationship and what they need to keep working on to get you to a point where you are destroyed by the ending of the relationship. They want you to be destroyed over a divorce. They want you to be begging and crying because they're not ready to leave. They need to get you to that point first so that they can continue their mission of finding a new supply, because they have to have supply at all times. If you were to leave them at that point without securing a new supply, they're in a dilemma. They've got a crisis because they don't have a slave. They don't have anyone who will cater to all their needs. So when they reverse hoover you immediately, it's because they're not ready to leave, but they're just assessing. Okay, they're just analysing where you stand emotionally and spiritually and also physically. Is your health deteriorating at that point? Sometimes when people get ill or obese or they're developing, difficult illnesses to deal with, they hold on to a relationship because they need that person, even if it's their abuser. So they get you to a very low point and then they start the exercise of reverse discarding you. Now, they would have done this a few times before by constantly threatening divorce, by constantly saying that, they want a khula, they don't want this friendship, they don't want to be in this family. They will do that many times to test you for your reaction. And what many people do is they panic and, they go out of their way to do whatever it takes for this person not to leave. So in their minds, they're thinking, okay, he or she, they're still staying here, despite everything I've done, despite all of these threats, and I'm not giving them any stability and security. They're always paranoid that I'm going to leave, but it's not enough. Let me increase the abuse. Let me get worse. And this is how the man-child or woman-child becomes malignant, because you don't have enough self-worth to leave that situation, and it's not your fault. They're conditioning you to accept this trauma bond, okay? And this is what codependency essentially is. You're depending on someone for survival. You're depending on someone else for your self-worth and your self-esteem and self-respect. Because without these people, you believe you're worth nothing at all. So, the abuse increases, and this explains why they may have started off as, being narcissistic people who are just chronically immature, and they turn into malignant abusers. And you'll know you're dealing with a malignant narcissist when they are psychopathic in their behavior and the abuse has escalated to physical abuse. Okay, so if you have been abused physically or you are being abused physically and their behavior is psychotic, the rages are satanic, that's when you know they've entered the malignant stage. And more often than not, when they enter this stage, it's easier for the victim to accept the reverse discard or the direct discard. Because by then you're thinking, I'm just dealing with a crazy person. I don't want to be here anymore. So they've pushed the limit of abuse to the point where they now know you've reached your limit and you can finally accept the reverse discard. Because they never leave. They never actually leave the situation. You might say to them, well, if you're so unhappy, if you hate me so much, if you don't want to change, you can just leave. But it enrages them when you say that, because they are the ones who need the upper hand. They are the ones who need to make you leave. You don't tell them what to do. You never get to tell them what to do. Either they tell you what to do or they push you out. Either way, they have to have control over the situation. So when you accept their last attempt to reverse discard you, it enrages them. But they also know at that time that they have successfully managed to abuse you to a point where you can no longer stand them. So they're thinking, well, they're not destroyed yet because they still have the ability to walk away. I need them back. And I don't have new supply. I have no back burner. So I need to continue my mission of destroying this person or extracting supply from this person until I find a better option, a better victim. So because they're not ready to leave, they will do 3 things to immediately reverse Hoover you. The first one will be crying. Okay, they will turn on the waterworks. They might write you a letter. So they're not directly asking for you back. Let's say, for example, a man has issued a talaq. Maybe it's the first talaq, the second talaq, or he's kicked you out of the house. Or a woman has asked for a khula for the 100th time. And at that point you say, okay, fine, I accept. They don't actually believe that you are taking it seriously. They can't actually believe that you've accepted it. They never expect you to ever leave them. They love to think that you are so attached to them, that you worship them, that you can't leave them, you can't live without them, that you could never accept their khula request, that you can never accept their talaq, that you'll beg for them back. They want you in that situation of weakness. Okay, they always want that validation and confirmation that they have grade A supply. They have a slave on demand. So when they eventually pull out their last card and you accept it, it makes them so angry because their sense of importance crumbles. You make them see themselves as people who are so small. Even my slave doesn't want me? My victim, the person I have worked for years to destroy, doesn't want me? I'm their God. I'm their Lord. That's how they see themselves. How dare you? Right, I'm going to pull you into another cycle and I'm going to teach you a lesson. You've got enough self-esteem, huh? To walk away from me after everything? Let me show you. Let me show you what you're going to get into when you take me back. And I'm not going to be the one to ask for you back. You're going to be stupid enough to allow me back in when I reverse Hoover you. So the first attempt, and these could be different people. They don't always do this. So apply what resonates. The first person will be the one who doesn't love you at all. Okay, and they show you that they don't love you. They've never done any work in the marriage or the relationship to keep it going. You are the one who has always held up the relationship. Without you, that relationship crumbles. Okay, you're the one who always puts in the effort. You're the one who's always fulfilling your duties and you're carrying your responsibilities, but they do not pull their weight. They love to complain. They love to ask for divorce, but they are the ones who never put the work into the relationship. So there's no love there, but they feel very comfortable where they are. You are a fantastic source of supply. You give them stability, money, comfort. You give them a home to live in. You're providing for them. You give them what they can't find easily elsewhere. Okay, they might find sex easily elsewhere. They might find, fun people easily. But it's very difficult to find people who will give them safety, stability, and everything that they actually need. So they will start crying. They make you feel sorry for them. You might get a letter. I'm sorry I was never good enough for you. I tried, but everyone leaves me and no one ever makes me feel like I'm enough. They make you feel sorry for them. They pull out that card to make you feel really bad for wanting to walk away. And they use your lack of self-worth to get this to work. Okay, they know you're an emotional person. They know you're highly empathic. They know that you are easily guilt-tripped. Okay, because again, they're not ready to leave. So they need a way for you to reel them back in. And this is one of the most common ways. Okay, you might get a letter. You were the love of my life. I just didn't know how to make this marriage work. Maybe because I wasn't raised by a good mother or a good father. I didn't know how to be a good husband. I didn't know how to be a good wife. But anyway, khair inshallah. May Allah give you everything you want. May Allah give you a fantastic new husband, a wonderful new wife who treats you well, who treats you better than me. I never deserved you. All that rubbish. All that comes out in the letter. And they already know that they're the ones who pushed you out. You never wanted to break up with them. Despite all the abuse, despite all the rubbish you tolerated, you constantly tried to make that relationship work. And maybe you did it for the children or for whatever reason, but they know that this could give you some hope. When you feel sorry for them, your empathy will kick in and you'll say, it doesn't have to end like this. It doesn't have to be like this. You know what? Let's try again. Because you feel sorry for them now. And they're like, haha, it worked. It worked. And they come back in for another round of abuse. Because they are banking on you, having hope that there's still a way to fix this. But what they've cleverly done is they have allowed you to follow your emotions in taking them back without them having to fulfill any conditions. Okay? Why do narcissists love the reverse Hoover? It's because when you take them back without you putting any conditions and ultimatums, they can get away with everything all over again. So if they were to directly ask you for them back, if they were to say, I made a mistake, I need to come back, you now have the power to say, well, if you want to come back, you need to find a job. You need to go to couples counselling. You need to do this and you need to do that. And they don't want to hear that because they don't want to make that kind of work. They're lazy. They don't want to invest in any relationship. That's not who they are. So they want to reverse it so that you just take them back based on your emotions. Okay, your decision is now based on your emotions, not on any conditions that they have to fulfill to earn their place in your life again. So later on down the line, when you complain that they still don't have a job, when you complain that they're not fixing their behavior, they say, well, you took me back. You're the one who wanted me back. I told you I was happy to leave. I wished you well in your life. I told you that I pray that you find a better husband or a better wife than me. Why are you complaining? You're the one who said come back and let's try again. You see how they get away with it? That's why they reverse Hoover. When they directly Hoover, they give you the power to set your conditions. But when they manipulate you emotionally, they can get all the supply that they wanted from you and they got from you before for free. That's how they do it. It's all back for free. And then they blame you for taking them back. They say, well, I never forced you to take me back. I told you, I gave you a farewell letter. And you're the one who crumbled and said that you want us to work on it again. Okay, that's the first tactic they use to reverse Hoover you immediately. As soon as an abuser starts crying, or they'll send you pictures and videos of them crying, know that it's them manipulating you into accepting a reverse Hoover. Okay, why are you crying when you're the one who kept asking me for a divorce? Why are you the one crying when you made my life an absolute living hell? Funny that you're crying now. Funny that you're apologizing now. But they're not apologizing to come back. They're apologizing, but they're accepting that you two have broken up. And that's what messes with your mind. Okay, that is exactly what messes with your head, because the part of you that's imperfect and loves Allah and wants to do things for the sake of Allah, that's the part that causes you to fall for this type of manipulation. Okay? An abuser will always use this when they know it works on you. When you're a soft-hearted, sensitive person, this is the first thing they resort to. And it's because they're the ones who kept asking for a divorce, so now they have to pay for it, right? It's now backfired on them. How can I manipulate this person into taking me back when I'm the one who asked for a divorce? Before that, they would have said things like, I didn't mean it, I'm really sorry, I was angry when I said it, I was this, I was that, and you keep taking them back. But how many times are you going to keep taking them back after they divorce you or threaten you with divorce and they say, I didn't mean it? You see, so when you finally accept it, they're now put in a sticky situation, because why are they now crying after they're the ones who have asked for a divorce and they didn't want to make it work? They didn't do anything to fix the relationship and all the problems that were happening that were caused by them. So they're like, well, it's my problem now. It's my problem, but they have to fix it. You're the one who's always clearing up their mess. They tried their luck, they risked it, and you accepted the divorce. And now they're thinking, well, now it's backfired on me. How can I get back into this when I'm the one who, initiated the breakup? And it's because they never expected you to accept the divorce. You have always fought against it. So when you finally accept it, it hits them like a ton of bricks that you don't even care to be in this marriage anymore or in this relationship. You want them gone now. You're sick of them and they can't stand that. So they're delusional to think that they could do this 100 times and you'd still want them. But the day you say okay, they will reverse Hoover you immediately. They'll take a quick chance to manipulate you while the iron is still hot. Okay? That's what happens in that first situation. In the second situation, they will make you feel awful. And they will also make you self-doubt your intentions and your decision. So they'll say things like, wow, I never expected you to be the one to break up this family. How can you do this to the children? How can you do this to our parents? After everything we've been through, after us buying a house and doing this and doing that. Wow, you really never loved me, did you? You really are a nasty piece of work. I thought you were someone who, was a family man. I thought you were someone who, wasn't a quitter. I thought you were a great person, but it turns out that you're nasty. And you're a liar because you said to me that you would never divorce. No matter what happens, we never divorce. We never break up. How can you do this? And my mother is sick in hospital, or my auntie is suffering from cancer. What kind of person are you? What kind of demon are you to break up a family, or, to leave the family home, or to leave this friendship after everything we've been through? They really lay it on thick. And it's all projection. They're actually talking about themselves because they know they are that person. They know they are the demonic, nasty, horrid person who has done this to their family. So they project everything onto you. It's verbal vomit because of how they feel about themselves deep inside. And it's also the anger that you've actually accepted, the reverse discard. So they are angry that you have enough self-esteem to not want them anymore. So they guilt trip you with everything until you start to doubt yourself and you hate how it makes you feel. You don't want other people seeing you as a cruel, demonic person who's broken up the family, so you're sucked back in. You are the one who suggests that you both get back together. You may suggest couples therapy and they'll accept it. And they'll accept it as a favour. Like, okay, I will give you a chance. I will give you a chance to fix this, to fix this marriage or this relationship, and we'll go to therapy. And you end up dragging them to therapy, but they make it look like they're doing you a favour because of your horrible decision. So they reverse discarded you, but you have managed to hoover yourself back into the relationship without them having to ask you to come back. See the clever tactic? That's what they do. So if they know that works on you because you really care about people seeing you as a good person, as a kind and nice person, they're going to attack your character. Okay, and they do that by projecting everything about them onto you, and you become so confused. You're like, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I'm not as nice as I thought I was. Maybe I wasn't patient enough. Maybe I wasn't a good wife or a good husband. So when you're not strong in your self-worth and your identity, people can easily manipulate you with their opinions of you. Okay, you are controlled by other people's opinions, but when you are confident within yourself and you know who you are and you know that you love Allah and you're a good person, you don't oppress anyone, this doesn't work on you. But when you have low self-worth, other people who are hateful and narcissistic can easily manipulate you with their own opinions of you. Okay, they're all fake opinions, they're not true, but you start to internalize them because of your deep desire to be loved and liked by other people. Okay, you need therapy for this. You really need help for this because this is something that can ruin your life. If you do not have that internal belief, that internal self-confidence, you will always be manipulated by people like this. So this is how you hoover yourself into a situation without anyone having to ask you to come back. Now, the third way someone does it, the third immediate reverse hoover, happens when they pull the God card out. Okay, so they'll say, it's haram to divorce. Fear Allah. Even though they are the ones who did not fear Allah in the whole relationship. But now that you want to escape your parents who are malignant, they're telling you to fear Allah. Your parents come first. Now that you want to escape a toxic marriage, they say, fear Allah, you don't have a valid excuse or reason to divorce. They say, fear Allah, because you will never smell Jannah if you break up a family. So they pull the God card out and they confuse you and they make you feel so awful. They make you feel like you are going straight to hell. You are on that fast track road to Jahannam because you want out of that situation. They're making you feel like an oppressor. They're making you feel like you are taking away their rights, even though they are the ones who have caused it. So they brainwash you into believing that a good wife or a good husband tolerates the toxic behaviour of their spouse. A good daughter, a good son tolerates the toxic behaviour of their parents. They have to stay and suck it up. They have to stay and take a beating every day for the sake of Allah. And then they'll start to manipulate you in a religious way. They'll say, oh, I thought you were religious. I thought you were someone who fears Allah, but you're not. You're a hypocrite. You're a munafiq. You're someone who doesn't know Allah. You just fake it. Oh, this is just a facade that you're religious. But when it comes to the hardship, the test that Allah's given you, you failed. Marriage is a test. Your parents are a test and you failed it. So now you're sucked back in out of fear. You now fear going to Jahannam. You now fear being cursed by Allah, because they might start cursing you at that point. They might say, Ya Allah, please curse this person for what they've done to me. Adhalamni, Ya Allah, they've oppressed me. They've taken my rights away from me. They may pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a worse husband, a worse spouse, to teach you a lesson. They will do this to scare you back in. And they'll say things like, Alhamdulillah, Allah saved me from you. Alhamdulillah, Allah showed me your true colours. You're the victim and they're the abuser, but they've again projected it onto you. This is all projection, but from a religious standpoint this time. They'll say, Ya Allah, compensate me with a better wife, a better husband, a better son, a better daughter, a better friend, to make you feel like you really are someone with no faith, someone with no morals. And this scares you back into the relationship. And they may send reinforcement. They may send their flying monkeys to make you feel really guilty. But they will tell their flying monkeys, do not tell them I want them back. They never tell you they want you back. They just make you feel awful for accepting the reverse discard, because they never actually directly discarded you, so they can never say I left you. They do it deliberately for that reason. They want you to look like the villain who left. They keep their image nice and sweet, and you're the one who has no patience. You're the one who wants to leave. So the reverse discard always comes before the reverse Hoover, so that they can have power as a victim in that story. So they will tell you all these horrible things, and they'll make you believe you're going to Jahannam, and they'll curse you and everything, but they'll never say, I want you back. They just say, Ya Allah, compensate me. Ya Allah, punish this person for doing this to me. You've ruined my life. You have ruined my life. I married you for the sake of Allah, and I wanted a family and this and that. Every marriage is difficult. Every marriage is a struggle. And you couldn't do that with me. So they make you feel so guilty. They make you feel really bad. And then you hoover yourself back in. You beg and plead with them for another chance. And boy, will they give you that chance. If they're malignant, if they're malignant and they found a new supply, they will leave you in that state of despair for the rest of your life. And they hope that you stay in that state of despair and guilt forever. Sometimes they will leave you at that point and never come back, because they believe at that point they've destroyed your faith. They believe you'll never get over it. They believe that they have left you with the thought that you are going to Jahannam, and that's when a lot of people lose their faith. They say, Ya Allah, why did you do this to me? And this person is not giving me any chance to fix the situation, so I'm cursed, I'm doomed for the rest of my life. This person will not forgive me. They may say something like, I will never forgive you for this. On the Day of Judgment, I will never forgive you for breaking up the family, even though they're the ones who did it. Okay, I keep repeating this because I know people are listening to this and they'll be traumatized by going through this experience. I keep repeating it so you remember it. They are projecting onto you. So when they say things like, I will never forgive you, it's either to traumatize you for the rest of their life because they already have supply and they're going to move on with them and never come back to you. They want to leave you with that bitterness that you can never recover from. Or they say it so that you beg and plead with them for forgiveness. And then you end up accepting all their horrible behavior. And this is why lots of Muslim cultures never recover from trauma, because people keep enabling this kind of abuse in the community. People are told that they have to tolerate toxic behavior in the name of it being piety, in the name of it being, your Islamic duty. Tolerate your horrible parents, tolerate your horrible siblings, tolerate your awful neighbours, tolerate your husband and your wife, and ruin your life in the process, because this is what piety looks like. This is what, a good husband or a good wife should be doing. This is what a good daughter or son should be doing. And this is why our societies are so toxic. They're so disgusting. Because whenever this happens, flying monkeys come in to reinforce the idea that this is what's Islamic. And it causes people depression. It drags people into trauma bonds. And the cycle never ends. Okay, it never ever ends. So when you stand up for yourself against an abuser and you say, no, I did everything I could. I was a great wife. I was a great husband. I was a great daughter or son. You might have enough self-esteem to stand up to your abuser, but you might crumble when everyone else surrounds them. All their flying monkeys come and tell you that you're in the wrong. That's how loads of victims get dragged back into these cycles, you see. They employ their shayateen al-ins to come and, no, you're going to stay here because empaths serve narcissists. Empaths are slaves to narcissists. We have to destroy you. We will not leave you until you are completely destroyed. So if a malignant narcissist sees that your faith is broken, you're now a broken person because they've managed to make you feel so awful about yourself, that's when they leave. They're happy. They believe that their mission is complete. So they move on very happily with someone else because they believe their assignment from Iblis was delivered very well. And that's why I tell you, the best revenge against someone like this is to rebuild your faith, rebuild your connection with Allah, and you become better. That kills them, that destroys them, that burns the shayateen. It absolutely destroys them. Okay, this is what they do. They will leave you at your worst. They will never discard you, whether it's directly or in reverse, unless you're destroyed. You will never hear from them again if they believe you're destroyed. And you will never hear from them again if you have completely destroyed them. Okay, so one person has to destroy the other to get rid of the narcissist. They either destroy you or you destroy them to never hear from them again. Ever. So these are the 3 immediate reverse Hoovers you'll get from a Muslim narcissist, psychopath / sociopath and all of that when they are not ready to leave yet. Now, this is the important part. If you do not accept and fall for their reverse Hoover, they will absolutely hate your guts. Okay, this is the best way of getting rid of a narcissist who is trying to Hoover you back in indirectly. So they hate you because you're leaving them with no supply. They hate you because you have enough self-worth and self-esteem now. They hate you because none of their efforts are working and you're making them feel small and weak. They feel rejected. They feel insignificant. They don't feel important. They don't feel grandiose anymore. They don't feel all high and mighty. The victim has now empowered themselves to walk away and not want this situation for themselves anymore. You will never hear from them again. Okay, if you do not accept an immediate reverse Hoover, you will not hear from that narcissist again. 99.9% of the time. They go on a quick search for a new supply. And that's why they often downgrade, because they just clutch onto anything. Anything will do at that point, just for them to have some supply until they find a new grade A source of supply. Okay, and again, it's not always a new partner. It could be a friend who acts like a slave. It could be a cousin. It could be an auntie. It could be an uncle. It could be anybody. They will just clutch onto anyone who gives them temporary supply. They're a pit stop until they find grade A supply, and they spend a very long time looking for grade A supply because it's not easy to find. That's why they hold on to you. That's why they hope that you'll take them back without them having to ask. Because again, it gives them that power in the new cycle. So this is the quickest way to make them hate you. Do not accept their direct or reverse Hoovers if you want to get rid of them. They will hate and resent you so much. You'll never hear from them or see them again. And if you co-parent with them, they'll be very difficult. They're very difficult to co-parent with because they're bitter and resentful that they don't have you anymore. And this is what makes it a complete nightmare. They're inconsistent. They're not reliable. They're petty in their communication. They don't do what they're meant to be doing. They don't take the kids to the doctors, the dentist. They end up giving you the whole load of things to do. And then they, again, play victim when you take them to court over it. And when you say, I don't want this person having any contact with their children because this person's a liability. This person is bringing toxic behavior into the family again. It's a horrible cycle when you have children with them. And that's why I keep saying to people, if you haven't got children yet, run for your freaking lives. Because it gets worse. Co-parenting is a nightmare with someone you rejected, someone you refuse to take back. They make you pay for it in the co-parenting relationship. They make you pay for it in other ways. Okay? So, please, I'm pleading with you. If you do not have children yet and you are already in this cycle, for the sake of Allah, get out of it. Get out of that situation. Because wallahi, it gets worse. I speak to hundreds of people about this. And it's the same cycle, the same pattern that everyone goes through, where their lives just get worse and more complicated because they can't stand the fact that you actually managed to get some self-worth and self-esteem. And that's why they isolate you, by the way, from everyone in the relationship. They don't want you having contact with your friends, with your family members, with your neighbours, because they want you to have such low self-worth and such low self-esteem that when these things happen, you accept them back. When you have a good support network, they remind you that you deserve better. They remind you that this isn't marriage. This isn't what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to do. They don't like you being around people like that. So they isolate you and they cause a big problem every time you come into contact with loving family members, people who love you, people who raise your self-worth. They remind you of what a wonderful person you are. They lift your self-esteem. They remind you of all the wonderful things about you. So when you go back to them with a bit more confidence because you've been in the company of people who really truly love you, they hate it. And now they have a problem with your family. They have a problem with your friends. They want to cut you off from everybody. That's why they do it. So that when they eventually discard you and they want to hoover you back in, you have enough low self-worth to take them back. Because you don't believe deep down that you deserve anything better than this. Because they've cut you off from everyone who's reminded you of it. You know, the people around you remind you that you're worth a lot more than this. You deserve a lot more than this. You don't deserve to be in such a horrid situation. That's the reason why they isolate you from the very beginning. Because they know exactly what they're like. And they will always hoover because they know what they're like. They know that they can't sustain any kind of relationship. So they always leave doors open to hoover people when the time comes. Okay, when it's needed. So that's the immediate reverse hoover. Now the reverse hoover that comes much later, because they've found new supply or their back burner supply is with them, is a bit different. So I'll give you an example. They might send you that letter, okay? And they might say, I really loved you. I really tried my best, but I can't be with someone who doesn't want me. I can't be with someone who isn't patient enough with me. And you say something like, you respond with, but we can make this work. If you just do this, and fix up on this, we can make this work. But they don't, okay? They don't do it, and they don't want to hear it. They're just telling you that to manipulate you because they already have a new supply and you don't know about it. Or maybe you know about it and you're trying to win them back. But you want better for yourself. And you say, look, the reason why I'm accepting this relationship to end is because I can't take this anymore. If you get a job, if you fix up on your anger issues, if you make more effort in our relationship, then yeah, we can make it work. So you're giving them very clear, practical solutions for them to come back and make it work. But they say, I don't want to hear that. And they don't respond to any of it. They'll respond with either silence and they'll disappear. Or they'll respond with, I think it's too late now. I'm really sorry. I'm too hurt. I'm in so much pain. They give you a sob story like, I can't be with someone who doesn't love me. The fact that you could walk away from me really kills me. I need some time away. I need to think about it. I need this. I need that. And then they disappear because they don't want your conditions. They have a supply that they're going to. but they're leaving a door open. Okay, they might say something like, I'll always love you. You were my first love. You were this, you were that. You were the first person I ever felt peace with. And they make you feel so guilty, so guilty. But they don't come back for a long time because they have a new supply. They need to go to the new supply, so they can't fix anything with you. That new supply is waiting for them, or the back burner's waiting. Maybe they put pressure on them to leave you and they finally managed to do it. So now they need to run to that supply, that new person. So they'll tell you what you want to hear. They'll give you that hope. And that hope looks like an open door for much later. So when they manipulate you in this way, you end up ruminating over them all the time. You keep thinking and thinking and thinking about all the things that you could have done better. You keep thinking about the mistakes you made. You keep thinking about the loss. Okay, now you feel like you've really lost someone and you really hurt someone. They're the ones who pushed you out of the relationship because they had a new supply. They were cheating. They had someone else to go to and they needed you to end it. So they don't look like the villain. They don't look like cheaters. But now it's put you in a position where you are obsessively thinking about them. You have accepted the belief that they were the love of your life that you lost. Okay, and that's what they want. They want you to believe that they really loved you, but they just didn't come to your standard, or they're not ready for a relationship. They might say, well, seeing as you're the one who left, it's made me think about it. And yeah, maybe it's for the best that we break up. And it makes you panic, like, oh my God, this is all my fault. Why did I break up with them? Now it's made them realize that actually they shouldn't be in this relationship. Maybe they blame it on culture. Maybe they blame it on your parents. Your parents want someone rich. Your parents want someone who's from the same ethnicity, blah, blah, blah. So now it's put on you. That emotional load is given to you and you obsessively think about them going forward. You obsessively stalk the new supply. You try to find out who the back burner is. You try to find out where they've gone, what they're doing, because they completely disappear. And when I say disappear, I mean from your life. But you can still see what they're doing. And I'm going to list all the tactics they do to reverse Hoover you later. So they want you to believe that they are the love of your life that you lost. They want you to believe that it's your fault they ended up in another relationship because you didn't want them. They want you to believe that it's your fault that you guys couldn't be happy. And that's why so many people who come to me and they say to me, why do I think about him all the time? I'm obsessed. I'm so depressed that I lost the love of my life, and we have to work through that because he's not or she's not. They manipulated you into believing that so that they can have a way back in when they need to. When that relationship with the new supply or back burner goes to pot, guess who they're going to come running to? It's you. So if at the time of their reverse Hoover, when they come into your life to heat check on you, when they see that you're still in love with them and you're still pining for them and you're competing now with the new supply or the back burner, they know they can easily come back in. You see? Because they've left you with that belief that they are the love of your life and that the breakup is your fault. So they sit very comfortably knowing that whenever they want to Hoover you, you'll take them back. They're very comfortable about that. That's why they have the audacity to Hoover months and years later. Sometimes people will Hoover 15 years later. That's the audacity they have to think that you still love them. You still want them. You still care about them. And they'll ask other people in the community, are you married? Have they got married yet? And people will say no. They're like, because she still loves me. He still loves me. So they're like, okay, cool. Let me explore my other options before I go back to that one. As long as they know that you're still pining for them, you will always be their back burner, but you don't know that. You don't know that you're their roster, that you are in their harem garage. So as long as they are comfortable knowing that you're not married, you haven't moved on, you still love them, you're still posting about them, all these quotes online, they're like, okay, cool. I'll find them when I need them. But right now I'm exploring other options. Even if they break up with the back burner or new supply, they'll go to another new supply before you. because deep down they know they're not actually good enough for you. You are their last resort if they cannot find anyone else. They always go looking for people who are from the same swamp as them, and if all else fails, they'll come back to you. They don't like coming back to you because they have to do so much work to keep you. Okay, your standards will be higher than what they're used to, but your supply is excellent for them. And it's usually because you provide stability, peace, safety, nurturing. You give them so much love. You pour so much effort into them. And they don't get that with other narcissistic individuals. They don't get that with backburners who cheat with them. They don't get that with people from their own swamp. So they crave that. But they know that they're not deserving of that because they aren't willing to do the work to have it. So they keep you as the last resort. But they keep heat checking on you to see if you're still attached to them. So essentially, when you first accept the reverse discard and you end it yourself, okay? You end the relationship. You don't know you're being reverse discarded. You think you're the one who's standing up for yourself and you're ending the relationship when it's actually what they wanted you to do. At first, they think that it's just a game that you're playing because they don't really believe that you can do it, that you have the strength to do it. So they hold out, right? They really hold out to see when are you going to crack. If you fold, you reward them with that validation, okay? You give them an ego boost, like, wow, she still loves me despite everything I've done to her or done to him. And if you don't crack, they just think that you're teaching them a lesson, okay? So they wait it out. And that's why you don't hear from them for a long time, because they have new supply to run to. So what they might do is maybe, even if it's a few days later, a few weeks, few months, they'll send you the, hey, how are you? Just thinking about you. Just checking in. How have you been? You'll get those messages. Okay, it's a heat check. If you respond, it means that you were happy to hear from them, okay? Like, it depends on your response, obviously, but if you respond and you say, hey, I'm good, thank you, how are you? It's nice to hear from you. They know they still have you under their control. They can still emotionally manipulate you. And then they might ghost you after that. You might think, why would they message me after all this time and then after I respond, they disappear? It's because it's a heat check to see if you're still responsive to them. If you ignore them completely, they might try again 2 or 3 times until they give up because they realize that actually she's got enough self-worth or he's got enough self-worth to not entertain me anymore. But if you keep responding, even if you're angry, even if you respond in an angry way, they still know that they have emotional control over you because they can still make you angry. That means there's some care there. There might be some love still there. So they'll do these things and then disappear. And it leaves you very confused. Like, I thought they came back. I thought they came back for me. They want me back. They realize the error of their ways. The new supply, it wasn't good enough. It didn't work out and he's back for me or she's back for me. And you're like, yay, I'm so happy. And you go and tell all your friends, guess who messaged me today? Guess who I got a message from? Because you think it's them humbling themselves to come back. And then you get really confused when there's no response. You reply and you say, hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you? How have you been? No response. Or the conversation ends very quickly. So if you get excited for a Hoover, it means you can still be emotionally manipulated by that person and you're in a dangerous zone. It means you can be easily played. And the reason why is because they never gave you closure. When someone leaves you with no closure, it means they'll be back. Because you're always looking for answers. You're always looking for explanations. You want them to come back so that they can explain why they left you for someone else. Why they didn't make the marriage work. Why they didn't fix the relationship. You want answers. When you're looking for answers, it makes you a perfect target for the reverse Hoover. Because they know you're always waiting on those answers. They know you're always waiting for them to come back for that conversation. And they never give you that conversation, honey. They will stay away from you and they'll give you breadcrumbs just to check if you're still attached, if you're still waiting for answers, if you're still depressed and crying over them. And it's a selfish attempt to stop you moving on. And that's why so many people are still hung up on the ex. They meet wonderful people in their lives, but they can never commit to someone new because they're still pining for that ex whom they're still waiting for answers from. You see how it works? This is how it becomes a satanic mission to stop you from moving on with your life. If someone's left you for someone else, if someone didn't bother to make a marriage work, if they didn't do the work to fix what they had to fix, move on with your life. You're going to lose out on some seriously good opportunities because you're pining over someone who isn't even worth it. You're waiting for someone demonic to come back. They keep dangling the carrot on a string and there never seems to be an end. There never seems to be any relief. You're in a constant cycle of being love-bombed and then reverse discarded. Love-bombed, reverse discarded, until you absolutely lose your sanity. You don't know what love is anymore. You don't know what's right and what's wrong. You don't know what's real and what's fake. And you end up chasing after an abuser, hoping that the abuser comes back. For what? To ruin your life. Loads of people can't move on because they're still hung up on a demonic person. What a waste of a life that is. Yeah? Now, when someone comes back later in life to hoover you, they'll do it in these ways. This is just a list of some examples that I've heard are very common. So be mindful of them, okay? So they might be back for some supply or favors. Okay, they might have been going through some hard times and you were someone great to talk to. They might check in and say, hey, can we talk? I'm just going through something and you're the best person to talk to. You always were the greatest person to confide in. Is it okay if, I share something with you that I need to talk to someone about? I don't have anyone else. I've got no one in the world apart from you. And you're so clever and you're so wise and I really could do with your wisdom right now. I could really do with your advice. And your empathy allows them back in. So they've reverse hoovered you. That's exactly how they do it. Your empathy allows you to feel sorry for him. And this now creates a new attachment to him, okay? Because you're now thinking, well, he still needs me or she still needs me. So you allow conversation to continue until you tell them or you confess to them that you're still in love with them. And that's how they get you back. They might send you birthday messages, Eid messages, Ramadan Mubarak, every now and again. And if you respond, they know you're not that mad, right? You're not that angry at them because you're still responding to them, which means that there are still some feelings. That's how they interpret it. They don't see you as you being polite or being kind or being nice. No, they see it as you still having feelings for them and that the crumbs are doing their job. If you do happen to respond to them and say, listen, don't ever contact me again. Why are you contacting me? Your new wife is not going to like this. Or your husband isn't going to like this. Leave me the hell alone. There's no chance for us. I will never get back with you. Why are you contacting me? And they'll usually respond with an LOL or a laughing face. They'll be like, oh, honey, don't get ahead of yourself. You think I want you back? I'm well happy. I'm well glad we broke up. I'm just being polite and saying happy birthday because it came up on my reminders. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't let it get to your head, mate. Don't let it get to your head that I still want you, that I still care about you, that I still have feelings for you, that my marriage has gone to pot and I want you back. Don't you ever think things like that? Don't you ever think that I made the biggest mistake of my life and that I'm an absolute deadbeat and that I just could not accept anyone being nice to me? No. It's just a reminder that came up on my Google Calendar that it's your birthday, and if it wasn't for that, I would never have remembered your birthday. And FYI, I'm just a nice person. I send everyone happy birthday messages. I even DM'd Cristiano Ronaldo yesterday and I wished him happy birthday as well. So please don't think that I still have feelings for you. Oh my God. You think I still have feelings for you just because I sent you a birthday message? Oh my God. After the way you brutally discarded me and you broke my heart, you think I'm ever going to have feelings for you again? That's the kind of message you'll get. That's what they do. And then they go and cry about it later. Because you've touched a nerve. They attempted to find a way in, but you rejected them brutally, and it makes them feel so offended. It stings them, so they might come out with this huge message for you, and you're like, where on earth did all that come from? I just asked you to not contact me again because I don't want to hear from you anymore. So what usually happens after that is sometimes, it's rare, but they might attempt it again. They might send you another message at Eid, another message at Ramadan. They'll just continue until they see what works. But if they had their ego stung by the way you told them to never contact you again and that you don't want to hear from them, then they'll start doing it more indirectly. So they'll start to reverse Hoover you via social media, okay, via their WhatsApp status, via things like that. And this is the King Kong of all reverse Hoovers. Photos and videos of what they're up to and what they think you want to see. So they do this to make you believe that you're the issue. So they're now having the time of their life. They're traveling, they're back in the gym, they're working off the belly you always hated. They're triangulating you with everything that they think is now a threat to you. So they're having fun. Okay, they've now become this fun person when they were the most boring person ever to live with. And they may be looking good now, fresh haircuts, they're dressing well, they're going out on dates with hands, they love to photograph other people's hands over dinner. And they may show off a new supply or the downgrade of a back burner that they're now with. You're thinking, wow, bullets have left guns a lot slower than the speed you moved on at. And sometimes when you see the downgrade, it can make you feel a lot better. A lot of people can get their closure just from seeing what the back burner looks like. But if you're very insecure within yourself and you can't see that the back burner and the new supply are often a downgrade from you, then it's going to be a great trigger point that they can use against you to hoover you back in, okay? Because it's going to fuel a lot of jealousy and competitiveness, and you're going to want to try and get them back. And sometimes they'll post things that you've always asked them to do, but they never did with you or for you. So they may have, videos of them ice skating. You've always wanted to go ice skating, but they never took you. And all of a sudden, there's those videos of them ice skating or them driving a Lamborghini, going to places you've always wanted to go to, traveling to specific destinations you've always asked them to take you to. It's all a punishment for you, by the way. They might get a cat. You've always asked them for a cat. They never got you one. And now, all of a sudden, they've got a cat. So, it's all bait. Okay? It's all bait for you to reach out to them. They want you to reach out to them, start an argument, demand answers, demand closure. That way, they never have to be the ones to reach out to you. This is the bait. And a lot of people fall for it. This often happens when you keep them on your social media. Okay, now it can happen in reverse as well, where you're the one posting about a funeral, for example, maybe someone in your family they know has passed away. It gives an opportunity for them to reach out to you and give their condolences, and it starts a conversation. Maybe you post, your sister getting married or someone having a baby, and they reach out to congratulate you. Maybe there's a natural disaster that happened in your area, and they use that as an opportunity to reach out to you because you're posting about it. And they will stalk your social media. They'll stalk your stories. They'll see the quotes you're posting. Again, for a heat check to see if you're still angry, if you're still hurt, if you're still heartbroken. And, they may not reach out, but it will give them satisfaction to know that you're still pining for them. They know those quotes are about them. So get them off your social media, okay? Get them off there. Because you're going to see things you don't want to see, things that are going to anger you and upset you. And you're going to give them excuses to reach out to you when you post things about yourself and about your family and about your life. You give them a way back in. But they're not doing it to directly hoover you. It's just an excuse for them to get their foot back in the door, and they allow you the space to grow feelings for them again. Okay? Sometimes they'll send you a text by mistake. They'll say, oh, sorry, my sister's also called Fatima and I sent a picture of my wedding to her, but it accidentally went to you. Oh, dear. They do things like that. You start getting pictures of things you don't want to see because supposedly they were meant to send it to someone else who has the same name. They may turn up in places they know you visit frequently, like your favorite cafe, your local supermarket, and they'll bump into you and they'll be like, oh, subhanAllah, what a coincidence that we keep meeting. It's to keep them fresh in your mind. When you see them, it's, insight in mind. They don't want you to be forgetting about them. They don't want you to, think, out of sight, out of mind. No. They need to be in your peripheral vision all the time, whether that's online or offline, so that you never forget about them. And sometimes, they try to punish you for leaving and having enough self-esteem and self-worth to walk away by posting loads of pictures of their wedding, loads of romantic kinds of pictures, just to cause you pain, just to cause you anger, so that you can't move on. Okay? Sometimes they will send you pictures that remind you of good times. If you have children with them, they might send you photos of when they were born, or your wedding day, or a really nice holiday you once had. They do this, and then when you ask them, why have you sent me these pictures? They say, oh, they just came up in my gallery, or iPhone sent me a wonderful slideshow of these memories, and I wanted to share them because they were good times. They're trying to trigger some feelings out of you when you do that. And they're trying to get an emotional reaction. So again, they're not telling you, I want you back. They're just saying, hey, look at these memories. Weren't they sweet? Weren't they lovely? Weren't they beautiful? Those days were great. To refresh your memory of the good times so that it erases all the bad things that they've done. You now start obsessively thinking about all the good times rather than the reasons that caused you both to break up. So you've got to be careful when all this happens. And by the way, you'll always be the cousin on their social media. When their news supply asks them who the hell you are on their follow list, they'll be like, oh, that's just my cousin. That's just my cousin. She's a childhood friend. You're never the ex because they need to keep tabs on you. That's how they easily check how you feel and the likelihood of you being quickly reverse hoovered. Okay, they check on your social media, they check on your posts, they check on everything. So that's just an answer for those who wonder why the new supply would be okay with them keeping their ex on their social media. If that's the case, it's because he's told her or told him that you're the cousin. All right? Or they create a fake account and they keep you on there. So if they can't keep you on the main one because the new supply or the back burner knows that you're the ex, they will stalk you from a fake account. That's why I tell people, keep your accounts private because you will get random people adding you, whether flying monkeys or their fake accounts, so that they can monitor you and reverse hoover you when the time is right. Yeah? So when do they often do this? They often do this when the better option wasn't in fact better. Their relationship with the back burner or new supply is going down the toilet. Okay? The greener grass was just a mirage. And the back burner or the new supply now realize why you left him, why you left her, why you were okay walking away. When that reality sinks in, because they know who they are, they know they mess up every relationship, they know there's an expiry date for every relationship they get into. That is when they start making efforts to bait you back into a cycle with them. So up until that point, everything is a punishment. They're just rubbing everything in your face. They've got this fake happiness going on. They think it's going to last. They think they've found love. They think they found something better. So they're torturing you by walking away from them, by giving you this slideshow of their life. But when it goes downhill, that is when they start to bait you. So there's no more post. There's no more posting about the new supply or the back burner. All of a sudden she's disappeared or he's disappeared. Now it's more about quotes and how good their life is financially. They're like, oh, he's making money now. I quite like that. And there's no back burner. There's no new supply. They've broken up. They've got a divorce. Oh, this is a great chance for me to get back in. So you end up hoovering them back in. You want to start a conversation with them because they're looking better. They appear to have more money. It's usually fake. It's usually just a facade. But they will do things to bait you back into a conversation with them. When the new supply or the back burner disappears from their account, know that everything went downhill, but they still need to save their face by showing that they still have a good life without that person. And it makes you wonder, why did they not reach out to me if they've broken up with their new supply? If they've broken up with the back burner, why did they not reach out? Maybe they think I don't want them. Maybe they think I've moved on. Nope, I need to jump in and I need to hoover myself back in. I need to tell them I'm still available. Have you guys broken up? I will still take you back. I still want you back. They are hoping that you'll chase them in that way. Okay? They're hoping for that. When they do not reach out to you after they've broken up with the back burner, they're either looking for new supply because you're the last option, or they're baiting you into contacting them. And that's how most people hoover themselves back into a narcissistic relationship. And sometimes the victim will always see this person in their dreams and they'll take that as a sign that they should get back with the narcissist. I have a lot of clients who tell me this. They say, I'm always dreaming about this person and they've suddenly broken up with the back burner or the new supply. This is a sign from Allah that me and them should get back together. I'm like, no, that's just your qareen working on you. That's your qareen wanting you to reverse hoover yourself back in so that you can go for another cycle of trauma bonding until it destroys you. So your qareen will also do his work or her work and bombard you with dreams after Fajr time about the ex so that you obsessively think about them and it encourages you to reach out to them and message them. The dreams and the overthinking and the waswas and, all of this, maladaptive daydreaming as well, it gets too much. And then you feel an impulse to contact them and they're like, woohoo, it worked. I got her to contact me. I got him to reach out to me. The fake bait that I put out, this fake life I'm having, this fake happiness, this facade of having wealth and everything I've dreamed of, worked to reel her back in or reel him back in. The fishing hook got them. The worm on the end of the hook got the fish. And they feel really proud of themselves. And that's why they do that with everyone. That is why you find narcissists who constantly post about a good life, because they want people to be with them. They want someone who walked away to think that they lost out on something big, that this person went on to have a much better life, and I want a share of that. I want a share of this wealth. Maybe by being with this narcissist, I'll have a better life with them this time round. They're more fun, they look better, they've got a better house, they've got a cat now. Oh, I like that. Then, yeah, let me see if I can try my luck and try and get them back because it was my fault the relationship ended. I'm the one who walked away. I'm the one who broke their heart. I need to make it up to them. I need to do the chasing. I need to do the pursuing now. And that's how you get yourself into a whole load of trouble. But what you don't know is what happened behind closed doors with the back burner or the new supply. They realised that the back burner and the new supply weren't better. And the back burner sees what a joke they are as people. The back burner now realises why you left. The back burner understands why you never chased them all that time. You see, they think that you have such high esteem and that's why you didn't come after them, when actually sometimes the reason is you feel like you can't compete with the back burner because it's your fault that the relationship fell apart. So you leave them to it. So the back burner thinks, oh, she can't compete with me or he can't compete with me. But the reality is the back burner gets to see the reality of this narcissist and they hate it. Narcissists can't live together. It always falls apart very quickly. But at the same time, the back burner hates your dignity and your self-respect for not chasing the narcissist and fighting her for him. They hate that dignity. So what happens is they start talking badly about you. They start talking to the abuser, to the narcissist. They start saying all this horrible stuff about you so that you never get a chance with the narcissist again. But what it's actually doing is it's reminding the narcissist that they failed in their mission with you because you had enough dignity to not fight the back burner or the new supply to have them. And they hate the fact that they're now stuck with a crazy back burner and you're free. You had enough dignity to not want them again. And it drives them crazy. So they get rid of the back burner and they post a different life that is more appealing to you out of hope that you'll come back for that. Okay? They will miss your light and your comfort. They don't get that with the back burner or the new toxic supply. They don't get that at all. Because like I said, they go back to their own kind. And they start to miss the stability and the peace they had with you. But their pride and ego will never allow them to come back. Okay, they have a tiny brain like Pluto and a massive ego like Jupiter. Their pride and ego will never allow them to ever humble themselves and apologize and admit their wrongdoings and hold themselves accountable and fix the issues because they don't actually know how to. Okay, they know that if they come back, they have a lot of work to do that they're not prepared to do. And if they remove the back burner and the new supply from their social media, but they're not hoovering you and they need supply, there will be something that they're doing on the side that people aren't aware of. They're just having casual flings. They're just, patching up what they're missing with temporary flings until they either get you back or they get new primary supply. But be careful, because this is how most people are hoovered, okay? They might hoover you via other people. They might send their sister or their brother to check in on you, to remind you of them. They may hoover you via news of sickness. You may find out, someone may tell you that they're very sick, or they might tell you that they're very sick and it could be fake. They may not be sick, but they try to appeal to your empathy. They might call you or text you because they've left something at yours, right? They've left something at the house that they want to come back for. And by the way, a lot of narcissists, when they move out of your house, they will leave things behind that they can come back for later. Okay, they might leave things in the shed. They might leave things in drawers. And they'll call you and they'll say, hey, I think I've left my keys to my garage in your drawers. I need to come back. And then they start a conversation. I left something in your shed. I need to come and collect it. Okay, so know that when they move, they don't take everything with them. If they know that they need to reverse hoover you in the future. So these are the common things that they do to reverse hoover you at a later point when their life just goes wrong. Everything goes wrong in their life and they need you again. But they're not prepared to do the work. So if you're the one coming in with no conditions, you just want them back, you're just desperate for them back, you're so happy they ended it with a new supply, you're so happy they're no longer with the back burner, you will just accept them without any conditions. You see, you now see it as a chance for yourself to redeem yourself. It's your chance to now make it up to them after they break up with their new supply. So you work 10 times harder, you give them way more supply, you forgive all their shortcomings, there are no conditions, perfect entry point. You've given them the perfect way to come back into your life without holding themselves accountable or anyone holding them accountable and them being the same people they always were. So this type of enabling never allows narcissists to get better because they know they can always hoover old victims. So you may have got away unscathed last time, you weren't destroyed, but because of this enabling behavior, you allow the narcissist to destroy you in another opportunity at a later point. You see, and a lot of people I know are not aware of this, they're not conscious of this. This is why I do the work that I do, to open your eyes to this type of manipulation. But this enabling behavior is what causes all the trauma in the lives of victims. Okay? You really need to build self-worth and self-esteem and self-respect so that you can only accept better. You never go back to what tried to break you. You never go back to someone who had horrible intentions. You never go back to someone who left you for someone else. Never, ever, ever. Anyone who's like this needs coaching and therapy for self-worth and self-esteem. You need to rebuild that. You need to build that to a healthy level, not an egoistic level, a healthy level where you just don't tolerate abuse anymore, because that is a sign of a believer as well. Believers don't tolerate abuse. Believers stand up against it. They don't enable narcissistic behavior. So the quicker you can get help for this, the better. Invest in yourselves and get the help that you need so that you don't ruin your lives by accepting the bare minimum and demonic behavior in your lives for too long. These people thrive on drama. That's why they triangulate you. That's why they do all of this, because they thrive in chaos. And when you keep repeating your own toxic patterns of behavior, when you enable these narcissists and you allow yourselves to get hoovered back in or to be hoovered by them, you save them from facing the consequences of their abuse and their bad actions. Okay, so when they reverse discard you or discard you and they go to a new supply and everything goes to pot over there and you give them a way back in, what consequence are they facing? You're not allowing them to face a consequence. They have to face the consequence of losing you because they've made that decision. They decided to not fix the marriage and the relationship. They are the ones who did not compromise. They are the ones who made life so difficult. So why are you rescuing them from their karma, as some people say? It's not your problem that the new supply turned out to be a disappointment. It's not your duty to comfort the narcissist after the back burner betrayed them. You know, when it all goes to pot and they come back looking like a plucked chicken, why are you rushing to rescue them and prove yourself to be the better option? Can you see how you are ruining your own life with your own hands by doing this? I know it's a trauma bond and I understand that loads of people can't see it, but this is why these podcasts are here. Okay, this is what they do, and they escape accountability in every cycle because they always have backburners they can run to. They have backburners who welcome them with open arms. And that's why narcissists don't get better. They never learn because of their enablers. If everyone shut the door to narcissists and didn't allow them to come back in, wallahi, they would improve. They would get better because they would have to change their ways to get what they want in life. Every supply they go to, every new person, everyone they think is better, realizes that it was you who made them special. They're not special. Your love made them special. The investments you made in them made them special. They have poor character. They're immature. They're abusive. They're narcissistic. They have no intelligence. They are the ones who don't have that worth. You have that worth. And they always want what's valuable for free. So stop getting in the way of their lessons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending them. Stop getting in the way of their punishments as well. The consequences, the bitterness that they have to face when they make poor decisions. Don't get in the way of that. You become the obstacle. And this is why so many narcissists believe that you're the problem. They don't see themselves as the problem because they say to themselves, well, if I was such a problem, then why would you want me back? Why would you allow yourself to come back into my life? Or why would you allow me back into your life if I was that bad? So you prove to other people that they weren't that bad. If you're the one chasing them, or you're the one who wants them back or accepts them back. So it invalidates everything that you said about them before in your complaints. Everyone thinks, oh, he couldn't have been that much of an abuser because she really wanted him back. She let him back in. Do you see what I mean? And this is why loads of them think that they're good people. They genuinely believe that they're good people because they start to believe their own lies. They're pathological liars and they start to believe their own lies. And for a lot of people, a lot of victims, the fear of being alone encourages them to take the narcissist back. So better the devil you know than the devil you don't. That's what a lot of people think. So that fear of being alone, that severe level of codependency will push you into the arms of demons who have no good intentions for you. Okay? Lots of narcissists won't come back if they fear rejection. So rejection and shame stops them coming back. That's why you won't even get a heat check from some people, because they are 100% sure that you would never take them back. You've seen right through them, you know who they are, and they have no chance of coming back. So some people might say, well, I never got a Hoover. I didn't get a reverse Hoover or a direct Hoover. I didn't hear from them again after I ended it. Yeah, it's because they know they can never come back. Even if that person is not malignant, they will not try, because they know they will never be able to meet your standards. Okay? And shame stops them from coming back. So this is a low-level man-child and a low-level woman-child who haven't reached malignant stage, but they still have remorse. They still have a conscience. And they know that you're better off without them. They still have some decency and some love in their hearts for you to just let you go. Okay, some people say, well, I never was loved by that person because they just never came back. No, it doesn't mean you weren't loved by them. They just accepted it for themselves, that it's not for them. They admitted it to themselves that this is too good of a situation for them. They don't deserve it. So they walk away to save you. And when that happens, don't chase them, because if you chase them, they will come back. Okay? Because now they're pointing the finger at you. I let you go. I did the right thing and walked away. But you wanted me back, and no one's going to say no to free supply. But these people will resent you and lose all respect for you because they walked away from you knowing you deserve better, and they did not bother you again. But you accepted low minimum behavior that was not to your level. Okay? So they lose respect for you. They start to treat you like someone who is low value. Because when they walk away with the belief that you're high value. I can't be with someone who's high value. I'm better off leaving them alone. But when you chase them and pull them back in, they change their mind. They say, oh, I thought they were high value, but she's accepting of the poor attitude and the low effort that I always gave. So they just lap up what you have for free. And when you get sick of them, that's when they leave. You see? They will always stick around for what's convenient. Narcissists love opportunities and conveniences. So if you're willing to give a convenience away for free, they will take it. It doesn't matter who it is. They will always take it until they have to work for it. If you're dealing with a narcissistic man-child, for example, who, broke up with their back burner on new supply, and you're chasing them, or you are okay with them coming back, or you give them an indication that you still love them, that man will drive through a hurricane to get to you. Okay? He will drive through a tornado if you agree to talk to them and let them back in. Okay? They will be there in a flash because they can't believe that they can escape all consequences and be back with you where it was safe and it was, comforting. So, you've got to be careful. Be careful of the posts you put out. Stop posting those quotes on your stories. One day you're going to remember me and how much I loved you. You don't need to post all of that, because I'm telling you, those predators are waiting in the shadows for the right moment. The more you post quotes like this, the more they know they still have you as a victim. And believe me when I tell you that codependents are the most hoovered, because they are the backburners, especially the toxic codependents. They know that they can manipulate you easily with your emotions. They know they can manipulate you with religion. So when you have low self-worth and self-esteem, you are easily hoovered. So, expect one if you're still pining for them. If you are a high-level empath, don't expect a Hoover. They know you know your worth. If you do not trust your intuition, if you do not learn your lessons and you take them back, you will go through more cycles of abuse until you learn the lesson. Okay, one day they're going to leave you so broken, and maybe that will be the day you wake up, but don't let it get that far. Don't allow them to destroy you like that. I know people who have been in and out of these cycles for years, in the name of love, in the name of patience, in the name of doing things for the sake of Allah. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never asked us to do this. Allah says, treat each other with dignity, with kindness, with mercy, with love. Otherwise, it's best to protect yourselves from these kinds of people who are out to destroy you. These are your enemies now. Allah does not say tolerate your enemies. Allah tells you to protect yourselves from your enemies. So stop getting in the way of their justice and their lessons. Let them lose. Let them lose their families. Let them lose you. The pain can help wake them up. I have a lot of narcissistic clients who tell me that their wake-up moment was losing their family, when they realized that they couldn't get their family back. But when a narcissist can always get their family back, can always get their wife back, their husband back, then they have no value for you. They place no value on that relationship because it's easy to just get it back with manipulation instead of hard work. Let them do the work. There are some people who come back and they are genuine, but those people will always put the work in and they will remain consistent. Okay, so I'm not saying everyone who comes back is a narcissistic abuser. No, use your discernment. If someone is just waiting for you to crumble under manipulation and pressure, that's a narcissist. But if someone is coming back with something to offer you and they're telling you, this is how I'm going to fix things, this is how I'm going to make our relationship better, this is what I'm going to do, then it's up to you if you want to take that person seriously or not, especially if they are the father or the mother of your children, or your parents, or your siblings, family members. So just see what level of work people are willing to put in to fix a relationship and then decide. Am I just being hoovered back into a toxic cycle, or is someone deserving of my forgiveness and a second chance? But someone who keeps needing chances over and over and over again, it's a red flag. Okay, especially when it's the same problem that they keep failing at. If it's different problems each time, you can be more lenient there. But if it's the same problem they keep failing at, then don't give more than 2 chances, max, tops. Okay? So when you get reverse discarded or discarded directly, go no contact. Block them everywhere. Blocking is not a sign of weakness. Some coaches say, you appear weak when you block them. Don't block the narcissist, just ignore them. I say no. Block them, because sometimes your qareen will allow you to respond. You think you're strong enough to just ignore their messages, but they might trigger you. You might read something and it triggers you and you have an itch to reply. So just block them. Block them from social media, block them from WhatsApp, block them from Facebook. Block, everywhere. Out of sight, out of mind. And work on yourselves. Get the help you need. Work on your self-esteem, work on your health, work on everything. Because they will always try to bait you. Remove them from WhatsApp. They're going to keep changing their profile pictures to pictures you never used to see before. Now every time they get a fresh haircut, they upload a new picture of themselves. They apply heavy filters on their faces to look better than they do. They dress up and they put loads of makeup on, and they do this to attract your attention so that you think, wow, I lost out on a really good looking person. I want to message them because I don't want anyone else having them. They will constantly change their profile pictures until you take the bait. This is the worm on the end of the fishing hook, I'm telling you. Don't take it. You'll see their statuses change. They might say things about heartbreak and pain to make you believe they still love you, that they care about you. These people never love and they never care. Okay, if they do, it's very superficial, surface level. They can't give what they don't have within themselves. These people don't love themselves. If they loved themselves, they would hold on to empaths. They would hold on to a beautiful family. That's rizq. They would hold on to all their blessings, but they sabotage everything because they don't love themselves. And if someone doesn't love themselves, they can never love you. So they may fake being in love with you. They may fake, you being the love of their life, but it's not true. Someone who is genuine in how they feel will have self-love, and you'll see it because they honor every blessing in their life. They love Allah, and you see that in their life. You see that they love their family, they love those under their care. This is someone who loves themselves because they protect their rizq. So when they love you, it's genuine. But someone who sabotages their life, someone who, ruins every good opportunity they have, every lifeline, every blessing, they don't learn from their lessons, is someone who doesn't have self-love. You think they're giving you a lot of love when they love bomb and they do nice things for you here and there, bare minimum things, but it's coming from an empty place because they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know what love is. They don't even love Allah. If they loved Allah, they'd never oppress anyone. If they loved Allah, they would never mistreat His creation. So never think that when they go to a new supply or back burner that they're going to go and love that person. No. They go with the same problems and they unload the same traumas onto them, and even more now because they've collected traumas from you. So now the back burner and new supply have to deal with all the regret that they feel from you and sabotaging things with you. All that is piled onto the new supply and the back burner. And they look for you in everyone. So when the back burner doesn't meet your standards of, providing comfort and peace and safety and stability, they have problems, you see. They might be able to provide some fun, temporary pleasures and all of that, but ultimately narcissists want love like everyone else. Deep down, that's what narcissists need too. And that's why they love being around empaths, but they can never meet their standard. They can never meet their level of nafs. Their nafs is so low and the empath's nafs is so high. There's a huge gap and they always feel inferior. They always feel inadequate. They always know that you're, better than them when it comes to your character. And they feel very insecure about all of that. So as much as they want you, they can't have you because of how you make them feel. You put a mirror up to them that shows them how small they really are. But it doesn't mean they can't grow. It doesn't mean they can't do the work to get to the level of a nafs al-mutma'inna. But they can't be bothered. They are so in love with themselves and their intelligence when it comes to scamming people and manipulating people. Like, why should I do all that hard work when I can get everything I want by manipulating people? And they believe that until they meet an empath. When they meet an empath, they realize that their whole life is a lie and they come crashing down. It gives them an ego awakening sometimes, and that's when they change. Some of them, not all of them. The rest of them think that the level of the empath is too high to attain, so they just abandon. And that's why so many people who were married to narcissists and they're high-level empaths will never hear from them again. Because the narcissist knows that it's impossible for them to reach their level because they don't have it in them to do that kind of work. They're too weak for their qareen. So don't get upset when you never get hoovered. Wear that as a badge of honor. That is a really good indication that the narcissist actually has some respect for you. They respect you for walking away deep down. They respect you for not tolerating their rubbish. They respect you for knowing your worth. Wallahi, they respect people who know their worth and their value, and they do not accept anyone in their life who will abuse them. And that's why they really abuse and disrespect their victims, because of the toleration. When you tolerate a narcissist's bad behavior and abuse, they know you're weak. They know you have low self-worth. But when you show them that you are a person of very high worth and that you have no fear of losing them, even if they are the father of your children, the mother of your children, your own parent, then something inside them tells them that you are someone who is not breakable. You can't be destroyed because your power comes from Allah. It doesn't come from them. You're not codependent on other people. You are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your power. And a narcissist can never win against someone like that. So they walk away and you never hear from them again. And they might even be polite with you if you have to co-parent. They might be civil with you. And they'll just move on to another supply and do their thing. But they'll always hold you in secret high esteem because they wish they could be like you. They know they're weak for their qareen. They know that they are pathetic in the way they live their lives. So when they see you, they secretly want to be like you, and that's why they destroy empaths, because they secretly envy their strength that they have, because they get their power from something that is so great, no one can overpower it. No one can overpower the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they know this because the empath always wins in the end, right? The qareen can let you down. It scams you, it deceives you. What goes round comes around. The same way they deceive and scam people, their qareen deceives and scams them, and they realize that. They know that their life is an absolute joke. They know all their relationships have been nothing short of a disaster. They know they can't sustain any relationships because they don't have the character for it. They don't have the power for it. They don't have the ability to be great people because they're weak for their qareen. Their ego matters more than anything else. So be very mindful of all of this. Go no contact. Work on becoming high value people who get their power from Allah and not other people. That's how you break away from codependency. And I do offer this one-to-one coaching. So if you need this service, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you with it. Alhamdulillah, I've helped loads of people with it. So, we just shift your dependence on people for self-worth to your dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's how you can actually elevate. And maybe one day you'll inspire a narcissist to meet you there. But right now, because we have too many enablers in our societies, narcissists are not getting better. The problem of narcissism is getting worse. More and more people are becoming narcissistic because the easy way to get what they want is just to manipulate and scam people. Because people are taking it. People are falling for it. So please do share these podcasts with other people so that we can spread awareness to others, so that they don't keep falling for this manipulation. And this is the only hope we have, by creating awareness. It's the only hope we have to decrease the number of people who fall prey to these predators. Okay, we want to decrease the number of victims, and the only way that can happen is if people become more aware of all of these tactics that they use on others to control them and destroy them. I'm going to read you just a short paragraph that was written by a narcissist when it comes to the reverse Hoover, and I just want you to, let it sink in, because this is exactly what it is. He said, "We want you to chase after us and keep trying, since this is a huge ego boost for us and we feel we have control over you. When you stop doing this, we lose our sense of control and we hate that. We will want you to pay for doing that to us, and trust me, we will make you pay for that. Unless you make us unable to by going no contact with us. This is the only way to cut off a narcissist. You have to make sure we're never able to contact you again. Don't play games with us. Don't try to make us jealous or try to get us back, because more than likely you'll really regret it in the end, because we are ruthless with our victims." Okay, this is from a narcissist. So please take it seriously. I know you might be suffering right now because you miss them so much, you want them so much, you feel lonely, you don't want to be on your own, you're struggling to find someone else, maybe you're desperately looking on dating apps for a replacement. You are just going to dig yourself a trench you can't get out of later. Heal yourselves. Work on your healing. Work on understanding why all this has happened to you, and break free from demonic traps. Okay? I hope that's helped, inshallah, to give you some clarity and closure on the subject. I try my best to include as many examples as I can so that the podcast can relate to as many people as possible. But if you have any questions, you can drop them below in the comment section. Please do share it with other people. Please do like it if you found it helpful. And my details are below if you want to reach out for one-to-one counselling and coaching. And like I said, please do read the book if you haven't already. The book will really help you make sense of a lot of things as well. And I hope that, inshallah, you will take something away from this that will inspire you to get better, to heal, and to make the right decisions in your life. Okay, sit with it. Listen to it 2 or 3 times if you have to. Let it sink in and take it seriously, please. Because this can save you. This kind of information can save you from a lifetime of absolute misery, especially if you don't have children. Especially if, alhamdulillah, you still have your faith, but you're at risk of losing it when someone keeps manipulating you and abusing you from a religious perspective. Okay? Protect what you have. Protect your faith. Protect your health. Protect your mental health. And acknowledge the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rescued you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescues you, He removes the narcissist from your life. Whether that's a direct discard or a reverse discard, it doesn't matter. That person has removed themselves from your life thinking that they've won. Thinking that they've caused you a lot of damage when actually they have done what's needed to pave the way for your healing. Allah has rescued you from that person and has allowed that person to make the stupid decision to leave their lifeline and leave their rizq. Okay, so when a narcissist leaves your life, when anyone toxic leaves your life, this is Allah rescuing you from them. Allah has allowed them to sabotage the whole thing to free you. Stop going back to what Allah rescued you from. Okay? Stop going back to what Allah has rescued you from. Because if you go back, you've got another lesson to learn and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be harder than last time. And that's not a punishment for you. It's because Allah knows that you need another cycle of it until your eyes actually open to the reality of the situation. Because until now, you're still in denial. So when Allah allows you to go into another cycle, it's for you to learn why He rescued you the last time, what He tried to save you from, but you did not accept that it was a rescue. So when you go back into a cycle, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how Allah is rescuing you from situations, but you go back voluntarily because you're being reverse hoovered. Look at all the times when you have hoovered yourselves back into a situation that Allah has been taking you out of to save you. Okay, it's nothing to beat yourselves up over because you do this out of naivety. You do this out of codependency and being in a trauma bond. No one's blaming anyone here because victims can never really see the reality of the situation until they hit rock bottom. Something will happen with the narcissist that will cause the victim to wake up. And that moment, even that trauma is a blessing because it finally wakes you up. Okay, it's never a punishment from Allah. Sometimes people have to learn the really hard way so that they learn and come back to Allah and come back to themselves and come back to their missions and come back to a better life or go to a better life. Okay, so some people just have to learn the hard way. It's a part of their nature. Some people learn quicker than others. And some people don't have to go through traumas to learn a lesson. Just a small mistake, a small red flag will be enough to keep them away from an abuser. But some people, because of the depth of their codependency, they learn the hard way. And it's the painful way. It's the traumatic way. But if it wakes you up, if it saves you, if you leave it intact with your iman and your empathy, you've won. Okay, you haven't lost. You're still a winner in that situation. Because this is a psychological and spiritual war between good and evil. So never think that you've lost if you still have iman. And even if it's a little bit, alhamdulillah, it's not been destroyed. Lots of people leave Islam completely after narc abuse. Don't let them do that to you, okay? Just work on healing everything that got broken and work on improving what can elevate you. There's a playlist in the channel called Healing. You can find all the podcasts there that will help you with your healing journey, inshallah. And I'll wrap up the podcast here. Thank you so much for listening. I pray that, inshallah, this podcast has helped you. May Allah ease your hardships and your worries. And may Allah bless you. And until the next podcast, inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.